I am super freaking excited for tonight's Zoom because I interview a lot of people and I don't think I've ever legitimately interviewed my upline on a Zoom. Like I'm super excited for it because I don't think I've ever done it. And I'm just really excited because I know the beast that Lindsay is, and I'm just excited for you guys to hear her too. So Lindsay, if you want to share a little bit about, oh gosh, can you guys hear me? Someone said they can't hear anything. You can hear me. Okay, cool. I'll type in the chat in a second. But Lindsay, if you want to share a little bit about like what your story was like before It Works, kind of what it was like when you started and how things have changed in your time here. Let me see if it got you unmuted. Did it work?
It did. Sorry, the cat was like getting in my way, so I wanted to get rid of it.
I saw a black thing go flying, so I figured it was your cat. All right, go ahead.
So hi guys, I'm Lindsay Winkler and I'm a presidential diamond. I am coming up on my 8th year in this business this May, which sounds totally insane to me. Like I feel like I've been a part of this business like for a lifetime, but I love it. I'm so thankful. So whenever I started this business, you guys, I was a new wife and I was a new mom. Like I think our son was only 5 months old at the time. And really I just joined for an extra income, like literally $200 extra dollars a month. My husband at the time was in the military. We were living in California. We were away from everybody we knew. We're from Missouri. So we were in California. We didn't have family there. You know, we didn't really have a close group of people other than like our military friends that we trusted. And I just didn't want to have to go to work and leave my baby in the care of someone that I didn't know. I was a registered nurse before this business, so I could have definitely gotten a job very easily and made really good money. Especially in California, they get paid a lot more than they do in Missouri, but I didn't want to leave my baby. So when I saw my friend posting about this business, I was like, I'm going to give it a try. And you guys, like, I never tried the products before I started this business. I didn't even know all the products we had. I had never done a business like this before. Like, I wasn't even familiar with network marketing. Like, I had no idea really what this was. But my friend from nursing school was doing it. And I was like, okay, if she can do it, why can't I? Like, it's at least worth me giving it a shot. So I jumped in, totally clueless. I just did everything that my enroller told me to do, you guys. And in 1 year, I went diamond and then double diamond. I promoted the next year to triple and presidential diamond. And here I am. And I've just been, I mean, things have consistently been going up ever since then. And I'm just really blown away by all the things that we've been able to do about this business. And I'll get into that later because I'm sure Courtney will ask me questions and all that. But that's just a little, now I have, oh wait, maybe I should say like now I'm a mom of 3 also. So I had 1 kid when I started, now I have 3. I should mention them. So.
Like I should mention I now have 3 children. While everyone left, just talk to Lindsay while she's also talking to her children. It's fully entertaining. It's a great time. So I just love that because like you started and you didn't even know anything about the products. Like you've never done network marketing before. And it's so different how some people start and they're like, oh, I've tried the products. I knew them. I love them. People are like, oh, this is like my 7th company or whatever. And it doesn't matter what your background was before. That's going to change from you being successful. So you promoted pretty quickly in your first 2 years. You rose to presidential real quick. So obviously things are different now than they were 8 years ago. But talk to us kind of about like, if you were doing that right now, what would you talk to someone about how you can promote and just like get things going really fast?
Well, the thing that I definitely think is super important is being consistent every single day, you guys. Like that. And like, to be quite honest, you know, there's things that I've changed that since from then to now, but I'm still doing a lot of the things now that I was doing back then. But the being consistent every single day, when I'm talking about that, you know, I'm not just talking about interacting, following up, asking people, but posting every single day on your, whatever social media you're using is so important, you guys, because that's like you saying, hey, I'm doing this. And that's what's keeping people watching you, because the more that you post consistently, the more people are going to be watching you. Like I did that to my enroller. Like she was posting and at first I ignored it. And I was just like, I didn't even pay attention. And then eventually it came to the point where like, what the heck is she talking about? Like, what is she doing? She's ridiculous. What is she doing? And then it went on to, okay, like maybe I want to try that. Like, and you know what I mean? So that's why this business is so important, because you can't just post once and expect people to be like, oh yeah, I want to get that. You know, some people do, but not all the time. So that's like my biggest thing, is to start posting and start posting consistently. Another thing is just, I would tell you to make sure you're doing exactly what your enroller tells you to do, you guys. Like, I don't like to say that like I'm a professional in this business, but I feel like, you know, I've been doing this for 8 years and I have a pretty good grasp on what to say to people, how to talk to people, how to answer their questions. And that's the same for your enroller or whoever's helping your enroller. Maybe your enroller's new, but they're getting guidance from someone who knows what they're talking about. So just listen and do whatever your enroller's telling you to do, because we want you to be successful. We're not going to tell you to do something that isn't going to work, that's not going to help you. So, and that was something that I did. Like, I always joke and say, if my enroller would have told me to lick peanut butter off the sidewalk because it was going to grow my business, I would have done it. And I'm like dead serious. Like, she was in a position that I wanted to be in. She knew what she was talking about. And I was like, hey, if I lick this peanut butter, you know, it's going to grow my business, I would have done it. So just really jump in. Don't feel like you have to know everything, but be willing to learn, be willing to ask questions. Go to your enroller and say, hey, someone asked me this. What do I say next? Hey, someone wants to know this. I don't know what to say. Like, it's okay to be open to learning. I was just telling some new distributors today, like, because they were like, I don't know what to do. I just feel so lost. And I'm like, okay, this is like second day. Think about this as any other job. Like, you're in a training period. And so that's how you have to look. And for most of us, you know, really, I feel like we're always in a training period because we're always learning. Like, I'm still learning, but especially when you're new and trying to promote quickly, you want to just be like soaking everything you can in and getting all the information you can.
Yeah. And just like being willing to do all the things. Like, I love that you said that, because when you and I talked, whenever I started like on my role of promoting, I was like, what do you like, tell me what to do and I will do it. And you're like, okay, so you're going to do this, 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 and this every day. And I was like, okay, cool. And I went from executive to double in like 6-7 months. Like, it's not, so many times we think these promotions is this like rocket science that we need to become this like freak of nature, when really it's just focusing on doing all the things every single day in the right mindset. And I love that you talked about being consistent with posting, because I always bring it back. And y'all, I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you can relate to this. Come March, McDonald's is going to start putting up the billboards for the Shamrock Shakes, right? I don't know if anyone else is like this. The first time I see it, I'm like, oh, Shamrock Shakes are back. Cool. Then the second time I'm like, ooh, it sounds real good. And then by like the 4th or 5th time, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to get a Shamrock Shake. Like, I need to have one. That's how your posting works. The first time they see your post before and after, they're like, oh, what's that? Like, that looks weird. The second time it's like, oh, she's still posting about that thing. And then they keep seeing you post about it. And they're like, I need to try that. How many of you that post about coffee all the time, put a 2 in the chat if you've ever gotten a message that's like, okay, what is this stupid coffee you talk about all the time? I get that message all the time. Okay, what is this stupid coffee? You talk about it 24/7. What's so great about it? You talk about it more than anything else in your life. And I'm like, because it's the best. And that's what's important. Okay, so you talked about being consistent as if it's the most important thing, because it really truly is. But you also have a lot of things happening in life. Like, you have kids, you're whatever. Like, y'all, her kids are crazy a lot of time. It's very fun. But someone said, how do you stay consistent? Like, when you're struggling with it and you don't want to work, how do you overcome that and like force yourself to be consistent?
Ugh. Okay. So that is actually like the story of my life, because it is hard. Like, we're human. Like, I love this business. Like, I get actual joy from this business. And you know, when people talk, like, just all the things, I love it. But you guys, some days I do have those days where I'm like, like, I just want to lay on my couch and watch TV and not even look at anybody or anything. And I feel like I have like multiple of those days. Like, but I know that if I do those things tomorrow, I'm going to regret it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that there are things, like, I've been in this business long enough to know that I need to show up every single day. So, you know, and like, as you're talking about the posting consistently, like I do that. Like if you go to my page, like no matter what I have going in my life, I'm posting something, even if it's not about the business. Maybe I'm going through something and I don't feel comfortable posting about the business for whatever reason. I'm posting a quote. I'm posting just something that I'm out there. And if you go to any of the leaders on, you know, our team, if you go to anyone that Courtney interviews, if you go to their page, you're going to see those people posting every single day. And that means you cannot post and then disappear for like 5 days and then expect people to be ordering. So, but like on the days where I don't feel like working, first of all, I have people that I talk to on a regular basis that are going to like get me out of my funk. If I'm just like, I don't know, I just don't know if I feel like messaging people today. And they're like, girl, like I just talked to 5 people and I have someone ordering right now. And I'm just like, gosh dang it. And, or they'll be like, okay, well, you need to stop. Like you need to go get, like Jen Stevens, she's the best. If I'm telling her I'm having a bad day and I don't want to do this stuff, she's like, okay, stop, pick up your phone and go message 10 people and ask them to do the business with you and message me when you're done with it. So having just someone that you can go to and just be like, oh, I'm having a moment today. They're going to let you have your moment, but then they're going to get you back on track. But something that I do, and I know I've talked to a few girls about this lately, because there's certain tasks like from the KPI sheet or things that we do for our business, you guys, that, you know, there's some things that you're like, oh, heck yeah, I look forward to doing this every day. I love this task. This is so easy. And then you have those other ones that you're just like, I like hate asking people to do the business with me. Like that's like the, you know what I mean? I do the task that I least like the most. I do that one first because, and like for me, that's in the morning. So the days where like, and that's actually the thing I learned, like, when you feel like you don't feel motivated to work your business, try working your business when you first wake up. Because I started doing that and I have found that I am a million times more motivated and productive when I start working at the beginning of the day. Because I used to wait until later in the day or wait until the evening. And by that point in the day, like I was so crabby and irritated just from my kids or just dealing with whatever that I didn't even like want to talk to people. I had zero patience to even do any of the things. And I felt like that's when I wasn't working my business the way I should. But when I wake up in the morning, I have my moment, I get up before the kids, I drink my coffee, but I start messaging, like checking it, like answering my messages from the night before. I start getting out a message to a couple of my new distributors. I start working on my host to post. Like I start doing the things that I need to do first thing in the day. And then the rest of the day I get to respond to people. And that's so much more easier. Like, so I can't even talk. It's so much easier when I've already kind of gotten all that stuff out of the way and I don't have to motivate myself later in the day when I'm tired and crabby.
Yeah, I love that. And it's the same thing with like, if you start procrastinating, it's very easy to continue procrastinating. Like if you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm just like tired, I didn't even sleep good. Like I'll just work later. Like I'll work after I eat or whatever. Then it's like you eat and you're like, okay, I'm just going to watch one show. And then it's, hold on, now the kids are being crazy or I have to do something with the dogs or like I have to go do this. And then it's like 9:00 at night and you're like, I've put up one post today. Like, what did I even do? So I love that you said that because my most productive days are when I get up and I start working immediately. But when I decide that I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this and then that, and then I'll work, then it's like, yeah, no, this is a hot mess of a day then. So I want you to talk about how you get started again after feeling like you're in a rut, like whether it's just you and life or like your whole team or volume or whatever. Like, how do you pick yourself back up and keep going?
So I know I already mentioned it once, but I'll say it again. Like having a person that you can go to and that you know that you can be 100% real with and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, but I don't want to feel this way. Help me. Because just having that person to say, and it doesn't even have like some of my people, like, because I have a couple different people, because I don't want to annoy the one I have because I probably would like drive them crazy. But some of these people aren't even on my team. Like they're sidelined. And sometimes I think that I like that so much because it's not like they're going to be irritated about anything I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like they're coming from a totally non-judgmental, non-biased place. And so I go to that person, but one of the actions that I feel like helps me the most is doing host to post. Like there's been a couple of times in my business more recently that I've been through some really hard things that have really knocked me out of my routine, you guys. And like Courtney said, it's so hard to like procrastinate so hard, or it's so easy to start procrastinating, so easy to not be motivated, not do the things, but it's so dang hard to get back on the horse sometimes. You know what I mean? So don't let yourself fall into that trap. When you start to notice, okay, wait a minute, like I'm just in a funk, I need to talk to someone, make sure you do. But doing host to post, I feel like when I'm like, I need to get my act back together, I go do host to post, because that is a way that I know without a doubt, I'm going to be able to start having conversations. And it's just like, once you just start getting back into that groove again, start having those conversations again, everything starts falling back into place. So that's like something that I do. But just, and also like just staying close to the team, like in those times when I'm not like I'm making myself get on the calls, I'm making sure that I'm listening to YouTube or, you know, self-development, stuff like that, just building my self back up, because I know like how I'm feeling when I'm in a funk is just temporary. And I know that's not where I want to be. I know that, you know, I'm much happier when things are going good, but we're human and it's going to happen. So I just, like I said, I think my biggest thing is when I feel that way, I go talk to someone about it. They give me some action to take, and I do host a post. And it's just, as soon as that happens, it just like starts rolling, and it's like, I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's so true. I think it was actually Mayfield that said this, like when you know that you're going to get in a funk at some point, because you guys, if you haven't been in a funk yet in your business, you will. It's literally inevitable. Every single person goes through times where they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do anything today. Like something's going on in life. And Ashley said, she said, have an escape route before you need it. Like for me, I know the couple things that I can do when I need, like ahead of time, that I know if I get in a funk, I can message Lindsay and say, hey, I'm having a hard day. And she's going to smack me back to reality real quick. I can listen to certain songs that I know put me in a good mood. And I can go shopping. It sounds stupid, but when I get out of my house and I just go see a different scenery, some people, it's just like, go outside. I need to physically remove myself from the area that I'm like pouting in, and everything gets better. And the other thing that I always think about, Pam Souter said it, and I don't know the exact number, so don't quote me on this, but she said, for every day you take off, it takes a week to get back. It takes like either one day, I think it was either 1 day versus 1 week, or like 1 day versus 4 days or something. But having one full day off where you're not there, not a Sabbath is different, but like a day where you're just not okay and not working, it's so hard to get yourself back to that like right place. So the quicker you can realize, hey, I'm in a funk, I need to get out of this, the better. So, okay, kind of continuing on the same path. How do you deal with feeling overwhelmed by leading a team, dealing with numbers, like charting, all the things?
Oh gosh. And it's so funny. And I know I've said it to other people before, but like when I joined this business, like I didn't join to be a leader. Like I didn't join to do all of those. Like I didn't even think about that stuff. So, and I'm not like, I don't want to say I'm super organized, because I'm not. And I want to say I'm like not organized, because I feel like I kind of am. But like numbers and all of that stuff and strategy, like that's not really my thing. And so but it's weird because I don't get overwhelmed by the charting and the numbers. And so, but I just want you guys to understand, like, if you're like, oh gosh, being a leader, what? That's not me. I can't do that. Like, don't tell yourself that. Like, it's going to happen without you knowing it or not. But I think like one of the things that I do is I just take stuff one step at a time. Like when I'm looking at a chart, or, you know, even when I'm helping a distributor with their chart, whatever it is, like I'm trying to just look at where we are now and what's our next step. Like I don't want to look at all the different things, or, okay, if this happens and this, we'll do this, or thinking like, okay, well, what if this person's quits and maybe this isn't the right thing, or what if this happened? No, I just look at it as what we have now and say, okay, if I was doing this for the first time ever, how would I do this? You know, what is the most simplest way that I'm going to get from point A to point B? And I do that. And then as far as just volume, like I like to figure out projected volume. So I like to figure out what volumes are going to look like for the month if they all run the way that they're set up. You know, just having an idea of where I am like where things are looking, that has helped me to not be super overwhelmed and stressed out about that, because I kind of have an idea. Okay, Sally's going to be at this, Katie's going to be here, and Courtney's going to be at this. So this is where we need to put the most focus. Just have like, and I know you guys have heard it on their Zooms and stuff before, but just having a plan, like knowing what's going on instead of just kind of going into it blind. But, and again, like asking people for help. Like I still call other leaders and ask them for help on my chart. I still ask them for placement. I still ask for their opinion. So don't feel like you're ever supposed to know everything. Like that's not how this is. And so if you ever feel overwhelmed, I just think that's like one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle in this business. You know, we talk about mindset all the time, but just knowing that asking for help is okay. And you know what I mean, in this business, like that's like gonna, if you just ask for help, get other people's opinions, it's gonna take, I just feel like that'll just take you, that's gonna help you and take you so far, just being open to learning from other people. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I love that, because I feel like we've had this conversation before, like with myself, like when I look at a chart and I'm like, I'm just so overwhelmed, you're like, okay, what's the next thing you need to do? Like what is the next immediate thing that you need to do to help you? Like, it's the same thing. Like if you say last month or in January, you maintained executive, but you want to be diamond in March, right? The way that Lindsay does it, that makes so much sense. And I'm not telling people how to chart, but like, you're like, okay, let's first make sure you get ruby, because it doesn't make sense to chart yourself for diamond if you're not even going to hit ruby. So it's just going like the next, it's like Kelly Brown says, do the next right thing. What's the next step? What's the next thing? And the other thing is like, back to the procrastination. If something stresses you out and you're like, no, I'll do it tomorrow, then you're stressed out all day about that thing you don't want to do. And then tomorrow you're like, oh, I'm not in the mood. And then it's just this, like the stress builds up and then it's this massive mountain that you're like, I can't even do that. When if you just did it the first time you thought of it, you'd just be done and would move on. So everyone in the chat is saying how patient you are. Because of Ava. So continuing with that, somebody said, how do you manage with kids, especially right now with COVID, and still be able to get all the things that you need to done?
This right here, that's how they join me sometimes. Oh gosh, you know, because my kids are in school most of the time, but actually it's really crazy that this is a question, because the last 2 weeks they were out of school because of snow days. So we were home every single day for 2 weeks and I almost lost my mind. But like, and I talked about before, when I joined this business, I had one new baby. So I, at one time, had like 2 or 3 of my kids even all at home before they started school. So I know what it's like pre-COVID to work this business, having kids at home. And now I know what it's like also to have your kids out some of the times. But I think the biggest thing is just having some sort of structure. I don't want to say that my day is structured, because it's totally not. And if you talk to me at any point in time, you understand that my day looks like chaos. But like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I do wake up like before, at least 30 minutes before my kids get up in the morning, and drink some coffee. Sometimes I'll watch the news, but I'll kind of use that time too to like maybe get a few posts out to some of my distributors, maybe take care of a few things that like I know that I won't really have the focus for later. Or I will, like when my kids are at home, like we'll say on the weekends, like I still wake up before them. I spend a little time working, but it's really like that here and there throughout the day that I'm doing. And I feel like you have to understand that you don't have to be looking at your phone 24/7. Like, it's okay to put your phone down and be like, okay, like, and I feel like I heard Ashley Sinclair before talk about, you know, she would like do something for her business and then put her phone down for a certain amount of time. And then she would come back and be like, okay, 15 minutes, I'm going to work again. And then after that 15 minutes, put her phone down. And so I like really try to do those kinds of things too. Like I structure out certain times in my day where I'm going to be like, okay, maybe my kids are watching a movie. I can be on my phone while they're watching a movie. You know, maybe they're on their recess for virtual learning, because my kids had to do some virtual learning for their snow day break too. And I would spend some time while they were doing their recess or their break time, I would be sitting there working. So it's really like knowing what your day looks like Like, and then making a plan for it. Like if you know, okay, my kids are home all day. I feel like from the time they wake up, from the time they go to bed, it's chaos. Okay, well then you probably should wake up a little bit early if you really want to get some things done. And you probably are going to need to stay up a little bit after they go to bed to finish up getting some things done. And I know that some of you might be like, ew, no, I hate mornings. I don't want to wake up early. Like wake up before my kids get up. Yeah, I'm not a morning person, you guys. But this business, I've made it a priority to me to get certain things done. So I'm like, okay, I can wake up 30 minutes early to knock out these things because knocking this stuff out is going to have a huge effects on my day. And like, not even just about like kids, but say like you're someone, maybe you work outside the home, or maybe you just like have a really busy schedule. Like if I know that I'm going to get up, like say I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning and I'm going to be gone all day long, I think about that tonight and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to have my post ready for tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to have some little tasks I can give out to my new distributors tomorrow morning. I'm going, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to maybe send out a few extra messages tonight before I go to bed because I'm not going to have time to do all my follow-ups tomorrow. So I think just really thinking about your day and structuring it, like that's how I stay on top of it, like with my kids being at home, but also just having a busy schedule in general. Because you guys, like and I know there's some people on here that know this, like, even though I'm at home like every day now, my kids go to school, somehow I'm still like really busy. And I get up and I'm going nonstop. And then it's, what are we, like almost 8:30 at night, and I'm like gonna finally just be sitting down for the day. So I get how it is to be busy, but you've just got to have a plan and structure it out however you can fit it in.
Yeah, I love that. I think something that you're really good at, you might not even realize, is you're very disciplined and intentional with the time that you do have. Like if your kids are like chilling out on the couch watching TV, you're like, okay, I'm going to work this 10 minutes that I have of like freedom and not just sit here and scroll on Facebook. Like you're super intentional with that. And I love that you talked about finding those times and like maybe having to wake up earlier, because I remember in 2018, when I was working on promoting and I was like, I just feel like I don't have time. And you were like, okay, cool. Well, you and I are going to get up at 5 a.m. power hours and we're going to get stuff done. And I was like, excuse me, do you know who I am? I don't do 5 a.m. power hours, but we did. We got up at 5 a.m. every dang day. I looked like a zombie. I don't think I talked, but we got our stuff done because you have to get to a point where you're like, either I'm going to figure out how I can make this work or I'm going to stay where I am forever. And I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this where I'm not even getting my list done every day. So it took me getting up at 5 a.m., even though I hated every second of it. And I think we actually did a double power hour. I think we did it from 5 to 7. And then we just got everything done. Like we got to a point where we weren't making excuses anymore. So, okay. 2 other questions. Laura said, what kind of tasks are you giving to your new distributors? Like, how do you get them going?
So, Jace, can you shut that door? So I don't know if you guys were on the Destination Diamond call last night with Amy, but actually one of my newbies was on there, Becky. And I feel like she's almost like a freak of nature because she's doing really insane, which is really amazing. And I'm super excited for her. But the things that I do with her and all of my newbies is exactly the same, you guys. So I can use her as an example if you guys were on there, just so you guys have a point of reference. But my biggest thing with my newbies is I just keep it super simple, you guys. I am trying to get them comfortable with doing this. And I feel like it's hard for us sometimes to remember that because it's been so long since we've been new, or maybe you guys have been in the business for a little while and, we're like, oh gosh, why are they having such a hard time with what to post? Or why are they having such a hard time on, this or that? And it's this is super new to them. So I treat my new distributors as if they've never done anything like this before, because most of them haven't, but I'm keeping it super simple. So I'm giving them a post to put up announcing that they're now in the business and they're super excited. And that's all I'm having them do on their first day. I'm having them do some of go in their e-suite and, I'm sure whatever team you guys are on, you probably have some sort of new training procedures for new distributors, but just getting familiar with e-suite and some of the basics, maybe downloading the apps. And then the next day, I'm just giving them a super simple post. And like I talked about last night, because Amy had me share what I was doing with Becky, a lot of times it's a post that I would give someone for host to post, oh, if you could take 2 gummies and do this, or if you could drink these 2 drinks, keeping it super simple, you guys. And that's like all I'm doing in the beginning is giving them posts. I'm not telling them to go and message all these people. I'm not telling them to spend all this time interacting. I'm not, because I don't want to overwhelm them. I don't want to freak them out. Like, I just want them to get comfortable, and I want them to start getting those first wins and start getting the comments on those posts. Like, that's why I'm giving them certain posts, because it's posts that typically, like I said, we use for host to post. We know that they get comments, because I want them to start getting those comments right away and be like, okay, people are interested. And then like, you'll kind of gauge, like, as they get going, you'll be like, okay, she like really gets this. She's kind of already posting on her own. Okay, this lady needs a little more help. And so really just kind of, I try to like make the training for my new distributors individualized. And I think those are the things, like, you know, so if I feel like someone's doing really well, I'll probably start adding host to post in. Or maybe say, like my girl Becky last night, I mean, she's signed 13 customers just from posting. She hasn't even done host to post yet, but say maybe she's been posting a few days and isn't getting comments yet. I'll have her throw up a host to post, whatever I can do to start generating some excitement. So, and then it's just the simplified version of the KPIs is what I do, you know, as they get their 6 customers, and then we start talking about, let's ask people to be in the business and things like that.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember I came to you a while ago and I was like, I feel like I'm not doing the right things with my new distributors. And you're like, just talk to them every day and do like, figure out what you need, like what they need. Because we all have those people that some people, they join and they get it and they're like, okay, what's next? Okay, what now? Like, okay, what's this? And they're just like ready to go. And then other people are like, wait, how do I copy and paste this? What do I do here? And it's just, you have to gauge that of how people are doing. Okay, so there's a lot more questions coming in, but we'll just keep going. So I feel like, and maybe this is just from my head, but I don't know. I feel like you help Rubies promote very quickly. Like, you're very good at popping Rubies and getting people going and promoting. So how do you feel like you do that? Do you have any tips for people getting to Ruby?
I mean, I think one of the things that helps is getting them that confidence, helping them get their shopping spree first, because I feel like that just gets them excited. Like, and I know it sounds weird because it's like, well, how does that help them go Ruby? But I feel like it's in this business, it's so important to help our new distributors get those first wins, to get that, because if they're not getting that confidence, if they're not getting those first wins, the rest doesn't even matter. So, you know what I mean? And again, like Courtney talked about, like, I'm like, okay, before we look at this, let's do this. And I just want to get them that confidence, that excitement. But then as they, you know, start getting their 6 customers, I am starting to have them post about the business. I am starting to have them ask people, you know, it may be in a situation where if I can tell someone's working really hard and they're doing the things, if I'm able to, you know, I'll put a distributor over there. And I know other people have talked about, oh, I'll give them one, they have to get their other 2. And that's kind of like the system that I've been working on as well. And just, what? Sorry, everyone's telling me something. Okay, I'll take your folder to school tomorrow. Yeah.
No, not tomorrow, today.
Oh, okay, today. But I'm just helping them, you know, start asking the questions and start doing what I need to do to build up that confidence for them. I'm sending them messages about asking people to be distributors. I'm giving them the posts that I know are going to get comments, and just really holding their hand through that process. And I just feel like, and again, once they start to get their new distributor, I'm helping them train those new distributors. I'm helping them, okay, we're going to keep it super simple. Let's do this. Let's, you know, focus on getting them their 6 customers first. And I feel like that's what we're doing. And we're also like stacking, and I know that might be advanced for this, but, you know, we're kind of doubling up on a Ruby chart. You know, we're not just saying, okay, we got 3 distributors and that's it. You know, we're kind of helping have like a little bit of, I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I know there's newer people on here, but just having a little, like we're stacking, we're having a little more bulk to a chart. And I feel like that really is helping too. We're not saying, oh, for Ruby, you need 3 distributors. No, I'm like, Ruby, you need 5 distributors. We're like on the old school chart, just because I feel like that's what's helping them focus on that and really get those Ruby promotions. And I feel like I rambled a little bit.
No, I love that. It's helpful because a lot of times when we have 3 distributors, and for those of you that are newer, don't listen, but like you have 1 or 2 people that don't work, and then you're like, well, shoot, like, what do we do now? And then it's like a lot of pressure. And I love that you are constantly having people stack. But the other thing, you guys, that Lindsay does really, really well, whether it's for people in their first couple days or like working through their first couple promotions, she holds their hand as long as they need it and doesn't get frustrated. Like she will just, she's like, I will send people messages or people posts as long as they want them. I don't care, because she kind of takes, because a lot of times when we have new distributors, people were like, you should just get it, especially if you're a red who got it really quickly. You're like, why do you need me to send you a post? Nobody sent me a post. What do you mean? Just go find a post and post it. But that's not how everyone works. And Lindsay's so good about that. And it's something that I always look to her and I'm like, man, if I could just like have that patience with people, it'd be really great. I don't yet, but one day I will have that patience. But okay. Somebody said, what is a lesson you have learned as a result of a failure in your business?
My gosh, am I supposed to pick one? Like, I didn't prepare for that question.
Got real deep real quick.
God, I mean, I was actually thinking, because like I knew I was doing this Zoom, and I was in the shower earlier, and I was like really thinking, because I'm like, I would prefer not to know questions beforehand. I'd prefer not to know I'm doing a Zoom, because I'll like overthink it. Like, that's a story of my life. Like, I could be doing a Zoom in like 3 weeks from now, and I'm already going to be thinking about, oh my God, what am I going to say? So I was in the shower and I was even thinking about like just stuff I've learned. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's going to ask me. And because one of the things like with this business is it has been really amazing financially, but it's like taught me so much about not just like a business like this, but even just life. And how, you're going to go through hard things, in this business, but it's not the end of the world, like just having a team and just feeling like, oh, everything's going so great. And then something happens, and maybe it's life happens or someone has life happen. And you're like, wait a minute, where did all these people go? Like, where did everybody go? Like, here I am again. Like, I feel like I've rolled a little bit backwards, and knowing that, okay, I can do this again. Like, there was a point in my business, you guys, that, we were making a ridiculous amount of money, and I'm going to share this with you. I don't know why, but I will. But I wasn't smart with it. And because I looked at some of my 1099 statements, and like one year I had like $6,000, and the next year I had like 80,000. And I was like, didn't even know what I was doing. Like, this isn't my life. Like, my life, I never grew up having a lot of money. Like, our parents really did great and like took care of us, gave us what I needed, but this was like out of my realm. And so when we were Presidential Diamonds, we were making insane amounts of money, and we weren't smart with it. And my business kind of like went through a lot of changes, and things like rolled backwards. And I remember being in my house, and you guys, there was a time like 5 years ago, not really 5, like 4 years ago, 3.5, we were like struggling. Like, we weren't smart with our money. Like, we were living beyond our means. Like, we were selling things in our house to pay our bills. And if you were on the outside, you would have never known that based on how I was acting, the things I was posting, but we were struggling. And I remember telling my husband, I was just like, something's got to give. And I was like, if I did this before, I know what I can do it again. And I was like, I feel like that was a test. And I was like, praying, and I was just like, God, if you give me another chance, like, I promise you, like, we're going to be so smart. And now things are so much different and so much better, you guys. And like, I like even now, like, I'm like the most frugal person on the planet, almost to like a T. It's kind of like annoying, but I love it, because I'm like, I learned to be grateful for every single thing. And, I know some of you guys will hear me say this sometimes, is just, you'll be like, oh, my check went down, or, oh, my check isn't where I wanted it to be. And I'm like, and I have to say this to myself, and I'm like, do you hear yourself right now? Like, you joined this business for $200 extra a month, and you're making like a bajillion times more than that. Like, you sound like a little brat. Like, you need to stop. And I'm saying that to myself. I'm not telling you guys brats, but I know I say that to some of you guys when you are having your moment, because it's like, okay, you need to stop and think about why you joined, and look at how far you've come. Like, and tell yourself, okay, I did this once before, I can do it again. And you guys, I did it again. And I can tell you right now, like, I'm so grateful for all those lessons I learned, that hard time. In the moment, I probably didn't. I cried a lot, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like terrible. But now I'm just like, I'm so thankful because we're so much smarter now and we're doing things so different. And I get to teach you guys to be smarter and not make some of the mistakes that I made. And so that's just one of the lessons. I feel like that really got long-winded, but you guys, like, I mean, you don't even know like all the stuff that you're going to learn about yourself and about people and about life because of this business. And you're just going to be like, I feel like I'm a different person because of the things this business has taught me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys, when Lindsay said she's one of the most frugal people in the world, we were in Michigan for something and we were at a Walmart. Y'all, there was these clearance shoes. They were like $3. And Lindsay was like, I don't know if I need them. I don't think I need that. And I'm like, Lindsay, it's $3. I will buy you the shoes. And you're like, I just don't think it's a need right now. Like they're cute, but I don't need them. And I'm like, they're $3. Like I spent more than that on cake pops at Starbucks on the way here. Like what? I was like, chill out. It's $3. Y'all, she is. But every time I talk to her, she is like, she's like, oh, we just paid off this. We just did that. Mandy remembers that, yes, we had to tie them into the cart because we were like, fine, you're buying them. And then she was like, I think I should return them. And we're like, no. Oh my gosh, I remember that. That was
and I do have to say, since I told my little story about that, this last year I got really frugal again, but last year we paid off almost $40,000 in debt last year alone. And that's just insane because 3 years prior to that, like I was like selling stuff in my house. So just know, you guys, like whatever you're at now, like your life can be totally different, and we're not kidding.
Yeah. And I love that you talked about like, you get in these spots and you're like so mad. And then it's like, you have to tell yourself, I've done this before. Like I can do this again. And you and I had that conversation last January when I was like mad at where my business was. And you're like, just do it again. Like, what do you mean? Just like, what are you doing? Just do it. And then I did. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that was easier than I thought, because we work it up in our head that we're like, we're never going to get back there. And then you do, and it's like even bigger than it was before. And you're like, oh, well, all right, well, I freaked out for no reason. But so another somewhat deep question that I know you're like, great.
You guys like don't know me. This isn't how my brain works.
Lindsay's like, just let me yell at people. This is great. Where do you think you could have done better had you known what you know now?
I mean, honestly, I know my leadership, like in the beginning, totally could have been better because I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I didn't realize the importance of checking in with people on a regular basis, or, I got to a point where I remember like, and I can think about other things, but even just thinking about people as like part of your chart and not as people. And I remember going through periods where someone would be like, you know what, I just need to take a step back. I have some stuff going on. And I would be like, so butthurt and like irritated about it because I'm like, wait, no, like, there can be worse timing. And now like, I do things so different because if someone says that to me, I'm like, hey, you got to take care of you, number one. And this business is going to be here whenever you come back. And I feel like, and by doing that, I have people that are like, hey, I got through my stuff and I'm ready to go again. And just by treating them as people, I feel like that, I wish that was something I did different before. And even, I feel like I forgot even the other thing something I used to do that I wish I would have done different, because I feel like it would have been so different. Whenever people would decide they didn't want to do the business anymore for whatever reason, maybe it just wasn't for them, I would like unfriend them on Facebook because I'd be like, well, they're not my team anymore. Why do I need to be their Facebook friend? Like, and now I've learned that was the stupidest thing ever, because now I've learned different, but there's so often that maybe they're going to want to be on your team later again. Maybe they're going to want to come back and be a customer. And you know what I mean? So I think just learning to treat people as like people and not, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I know like so many of you guys can relate, and you're like, we're honestly just trying to like make it, like we're trying to figure this out and survive and like keep up with everything and like not die over here. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to figure it out. But if I can say anything to any of you guys who are like working your way up, just take that time to like be a little more one-on-one with people, be like a little more, like make it more about getting to know them. I'm not saying you have to know everybody's life story and, all this, but like, these are real people. And I feel like when you have that connection, that's just going to take you so much farther than, oh, okay, great. Talk. You know what I mean? Like ask people like, oh, like what's your schedule like? Where do you work at? Like how many kids do you have? Just so you have an idea, because this is kind of like off topic a little bit, but like when you know more about people, it's going to help you train them. You know what I mean? Like some of us are like, oh, well, this person probably works 9 to 5. Like, I don't know why they never answer me at night. And then come to find out, you find out they work the night shift. And you're like, oh, well, shoot, it's not going to do me any good to send her a post at night. Like I need to send her some earlier in the day kind of thing. So I think that would be the thing that I wish that I would have kind of just made it about people more than making it about me and my promotion and my chart.
Yeah, for sure. But also, okay, someone messaged me privately. They're like, but what if someone leaves in a mean way? You guys, if someone is mean when they leave, it's okay to unfriend them. She's not saying in that way. She's just saying like, if they're just like, hey, it's not my time, you don't need to be like, well, screw you, I'm not friending you anymore.
Right,
like,
yeah. No, if they leave in a mean way, that's different. Like this is just say Katie, like for whatever reason, she just like stops talking to you. Yeah. But she's still like, you know, on Facebook, you know, I'm like, okay, hey, you know what? I'm here for you if you change your mind. Like, I know it didn't work out. Maybe it wasn't right timing. And because there's like a couple people on this Zoom right now that they've been distributors a couple times and they're back. So don't ever, like, that was just so stupid of me back then. I was just so.
And it's so easy to just be like, well, fine, if you're not on my team, then like, I'll just find someone else. And it's so easy to be mad at people, but we just have to understand and give people grace. And it's, the other thing that Lindsay's really good at, and I feel like half of the Zoom is just me complimenting Lindsay on things, but she's very transparent as a leader. When she's like, hey, I'm going through some stuff, like I'm just going to suck for a little bit. Like there's been some times in the past couple of years that have just been really hard on her. And she's like, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to be me. I'm not okay. And I'll just know that I love you and I'm here if you need me, but like, I'm not going to be myself. And it's okay to do that as a leader and just be like, I'm not great, but like, I'm still here. But the other thing Lindsay's really, really good at is letting people lead. Like she doesn't micromanage people. She's like, okay, if you feel comfortable leading it, you're good with your team, I'll let you lead your team. Like, I don't need to be hands in on everything and grip it onto the pot like it's mine when you got it. And that's something that as a red is really hard for me to just like let people like fly. I'm like, wait, what does your chart look like? Like, do you know what to do here? Do you got this? And then she's like, you'll figure it out. Like, you're good. You'll figure it out. But I mean, she'll still pick up the pieces if you break things, because you know, it happens, but she's really good at that. So is there any last minute things that you feel like you want to share?
I feel like my brain is just like, doesn't even know what to think, because I answered a lot of things I never would have expected tonight. I mean, I think just, obviously I've been in this business, like I said, almost 8 years now. And I just really think like, I hope that all of you guys really like understand like really what you have your hands on, and think about why you're doing this business. Think about, you know, your successes in this business, because, you know, I'm a presidential diamond. I've been a presidential diamond for like almost 6 years. And sometimes I get like caught up on it and beat myself up. And cause you know, I want to be ambassador. I'm working on ambassador, and I'll be like, oh gosh, I suck. Like I've been in this business. I've been a presidential diamond for 6 years. Like, gosh, come on, Lindsay, get it together. And then I stop and I'm like, look, like it's going to happen how it's supposed to happen. You join for $200 a month and you're paying off debt. You're doing like amazing things. You're helping people all the time. Your business is blowing up. And I just I just remind myself, I'm having successes. Maybe whenever, you know, comparing to other people, it might not look like that. But for me, for our family, like we're blowing up over here. And so I just feel like just remind yourself of that. Like, don't get so caught up in looking left and looking right and what other people are doing and what timeline you think you're supposed to be on, because that doesn't matter, you guys. Like, literally, like, think about why you joined and look at the progress you're making. And another thing I'll say really quick, and then I'll stop, because I know there's like bonuses out there, and I know it's so easy to get bummed out because you miss a bonus. And you're like, oh yeah, the beginning of the month, I'm getting that bonus. It's mine. Here we are. And it's like the end of the month and you're like, okay, there goes that bonus. It's not going to be mine this month. And you might be down on yourself. You guys, let me just tell you, when I joined, they had the $10,000 diamond bonus. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but I'm saying it. I and I was like, I'm getting it. I'm getting that bonus. And guess what? I didn't get it, but it got extended. And I was like, okay, it got extended. This is my sign. I'm doing it again. Yeah, I didn't get it. It took like the third time that it got brought back for me to get that bonus, you guys. And let me tell you, it was just as freaking amazing then as I bet it would have been when I got it the first time. And then the month after that, I got the double diamond bonus. So, and then next year there was more bonuses. So my point of that story is telling you, don't get bummed out because you don't hit a goal, you know, when you said, okay, I'm going to hit it this month, because it's not like you can't hit it at some other point. You've made yourself a million times closer. So don't ever stop. Like, don't get in your head about your goal and not hitting it and stopping and slowing. Because if you start slowing down, if you get in your head and be like, oh, I just need to take a step back for a week. Okay, well, that's the silliest thing you can do. You need to take that as motivation and be like, okay, I'm going out to do this. I'm going to make this happen. And I'm going to keep on working to my goal, because you never know what Mark Pentecost is going to do. He's a crazy man, and he will, you know, do some crazy stuff when we least expect it. And it's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I love that. And it's such a good reminder that also, you guys, a bonus is just that. It's a bonus. You don't work for the bonus. It's not like, here's the thing. Would any of you, if I was like, hey, you're going to promote to double diamond next month, but you can't get a bonus, would any of you be like, yeah, that's okay. I don't want it. I don't want to promote to double diamond because I don't get the bonus. So just like keep it. I'll just stay at emerald. It's fine. I'm just going to stay here. Because if I don't get the bonus, I don't want it. No, none of you would be like, no, thanks. You guys, listen, we don't work for the bonus. It's a great thing. It's fun. It's motivating. And it's exciting to see that bonus on your paycheck. But your bonus is not bigger than your actual paycheck, you guys. The paycheck that comes with promoting, you want to make a massive paycheck, do personally enrolled distributors and rock them out. Like, get them going quick. And you will see paychecks bigger even without a bonus than if you had a bonus. Okay. So I love that. Thank you so much. I will put this up on my YouTube tonight. I will send out the link to everyone who I sent it to. And